The Koderma Man-Eater. By A. Mervyn Smith. How long, O Sahib? How long are thy servants to be food for the tiger? Are you not our father and mother, and we, servants of the great queen? Can you not tell the deputy Sahib, or the lenient Sahib, and proclaim by beat of drum in the three thanas of Choparan, Koderma and Gaya that the agraries, a native translation of charcoal burners, are not to be eaten of tigers? What have we done that we, who share the forests with the wild beasts, who burn charcoal and collect iron sand, for our smelting furnaces, in the most lonesome parts of the jungle, should now be debarred from pursuing our daily avocations by this son of Shaitan, the devil? It mattered not when he killed the cheating gawalas, the herdsmen, who watered our milk, and sold curds that had gone bad, or even the evil-smelling Kamar, the lowest caste in the native Indian village, whose perquisite it is to have all cattle killed by tigers, or which have died from disease and take off their skins, who robs the tiger of half his kill, and even eats that which Mahadev has slain. Had I not given Kadan, the pujari, 2 white cocks to be sacrificed at the shrine of the Great Mother, when Bola was taken by the tiger, and then did not we charcoal burners subscribe and buy a kassi, he-goat, when Mortar fell a victim? No later than Bazaar Day, we got 2 pigs from Charala and sacrificed at Kali's shrine, and yet at noon this very day my own mother's sister's son was taken at Baghatand by the devil and son of a devil. Such was the tale of Jiban, Shikari and charcoal burner, poured out in disjointed phrases, on my arrival at camp after a few days' absence. Many is the fine haunch of venison, plump peafowl and smaller game of sorts, that Jiban has supplied for my larder, and many is the chat I have had with him on the habits of wild beasts, with which he is familiar, his days being spent in charcoal burning, and many of his nights in sitting behind a light screen of branches, at some forest pool, that wild animals frequented. He was a little bit given to exaggeration, but withal truthful. Hence it was that I gave more attention to his story of the famous man-eating tiger, that was doing so much damage to human life in the police thanas of Koderma, Choparan and Gaya. This brute made his first human kill in March, and since that date, no fewer than 27 persons have been carried off, in the 3 above-named police circuits within 3 months. This is the record even among famous man-eating tigers. Natives say that the number is even higher, and that it is the invariable custom of this ferocious brute, to kill and devour a human being every other day, and that many of these cases are not reported to the police. Baghatand has gained an unenviable reputation, as from here no fewer than 4 people have been carried off, within the last few months. 3 gawalas, cattle herdsmen, were cutting brambles, for fencing in some low scrub, not far from Baghatand bungalow about midday. One of these fancied he heard a low cry from the direction in which his fellows were working. He called to him several times, and, receiving no response, he and his fellow gawala went in search of their comrade, when they saw a large tiger carrying off the man. They at once raised a shout, and bolted to Koderma to inform the European residents there. Several gentlemen and a gang of coolies searched the locality, and in a dry watercourse they found the body of the gawala, 1 thigh and all the lower part of the belly having already been eaten. The tiger had seized the man by the back of the neck, so the death must have been almost instantaneous. Here today, 10 miles away tomorrow, in the very opposite direction the next day, he held the borderland of the Hazaribagh and Gaya districts in absolute terror, so that the natives will not go about their usual avocations, unless in large gangs, and even Europeans go armed, when visiting their mining blocks. This brute has become more and more daring, with each successive kill, and he has lately taken men from the middle of a gang. Very recently 5 natives were going along the forest road, from Koderma to Rajoli. The road winds through some low scrub, before it enters the reserved forest of Koderma. The 4th in the line of coolies was a man, with a black umbrella over his head. His wife, with an infant child on her hip, was following. The foremost coolie fancied he saw something move behind a felled tree, some distance ahead. He thought nothing more of the circumstance, until he had passed the tree, when he heard a scream from the woman, who was standing in the middle of the road, with her child at her feet, shouting, "The tiger! The tiger! See! See!" There, sure enough, was the tiger carrying off the man with the umbrella, which he still grasped in his hand, the open umbrella catching in the brushwood, and impeding the progress of the tiger. The men raised a shout, and moved a few paces in the direction of the brute, when it dropped its prey and turned on the men, snarling ferociously, which at once put him to flight. One of the men remarked that the tiger had lost its left ear and its eyesight appeared defective, as if it had been wounded by a charge of shot. It is of large size and of a light tawny color. Hitherto, it has baffled all the attempts of European and native shikaris to shoot it. So great has been the loss of human life, and so great the terror this man-eater has inspired in the neighborhood, that it behooves the government to take special measures to destroy it. Jiban's tale was true as regards the peculiarities of this brute. At first, he took to killing and eating only gawalas. Jiban says that it was because the gawalas always smell of cattle, a common food of tigers, and that this odor attracted him at first. As gawalas grew more wary and kept out of his haunts, he tried a kamar or two. He has now taken to agragras, which is iron smelters and charcoal burners, and his last 6 kills have been among these men, hence Jiban's appeal to me. Jiban's ideas of the power of the government are great. By mere beat of drum, the tiger can be debarred from slaying charcoal burners. Apparently, the report that this man-eater is of defective vision is correct, as only a few days ago, some coolies were returning from work at dusk, and one of the women had a bundle of wood on her head. The tiger sprang out of a thicket at the woman and seized the bundle of wood, with which he went crashing down the khud, growling ferociously the while. The coolies all bolted while the tiger was engaged with this novel prey, and no damage was done. One more instance of this brute's cunning. About 6 weeks ago a woodcutter was engaged, felling a semel tree within 100 yards of the village of Pipadi. The time was about midday, and his wife usually took him a drink of water at this hour. On arrival at the tree, she found only his axe, and noticed a few drops of blood on the ground. She raised an alarm, and the whole of the men employed at the mines turned out with drums, empty kerosene tins, spears, lathis, etc. All the European employees turned out also with guns. The whole of the forest near the village was beaten over, but no signs of the brute or his kill were found. Next day, some vultures were seen alighting in a field in the immediate vicinity of the village. This was searched, and the poor victim's head, hands, and feet were found. The tiger had evidently taken the body among the tall corn stalks, and calmly devoured him, while the beat was still going on in the forest. Unfortunately, the fate of the Koderma Man-Eater has never been pondered upon by historians or author. The end.